Tansei Adventurers. I'm Todd Lyons, and today I wanted to talk to you about cantrips and why. All of the content that I've created so far for this channel has been me pretty much scratching my own itch. And sometimes I just need a bit of peace and quiet to remind me of what the little niggling, grating, biting voices are about things that trouble me, that vex me, that confuse me about gaming. And then suddenly I've got the idea for another video, and that this is one of those examples. And cantrips is something that's been sitting in the back of my consciousness ever since I became a 5e player, and I just saw the effect of cantrips in the current generation of the D&D game. And I've heard, I did some reading. It's like, I know I'm not the first person to come to this conclusion, but I wanted to see what people said about it, just in general. And the kindest thing that I've seen written about cantrips in the modern game is that they are problematic. So, problematic. In any case, to see how far back in D&D history this goes, you have to go to Dragon Magazine, and I have an excerpt from March and April 1982, issues 59 and 60, where none other than Gary Gygax provides some insight into cantrips for magic users and also for illusionists. And let's just read his description. Cantrips are merely zero-level magic user spells. The spells learned and used by apprentices during their long, rigorous, and tedious training for the crafts of magic user. Most cantrips are simple little spells of no great effect. So when the individual becomes a journeyman, a first-level magic user, the knowledge and information pertaining to these small magics are discarded in favor of the more powerful spells then available. However, a magic user may opt to remember up to 4 cantrips in place of one first-level spell. This assumes that the magic user has in fact retained his or her book of cantrips, a tome as large as a good-sized book of higher-level spells. So that was the intention of the cantrip. And earlier in the same article, I can see reference to Mickey Mouse and the film Fantasia. And just if you've never seen that movie, I'm sure there's plenty of excerpts of the content. I remember the cleaning portion of the video with brooms and mops and things taking care of themselves. In any case, that's what cantrips are. It's a way of having little minor magics that can be utilized by the magic user or the illusionist. That doesn't take a big. It adds some flair, some interest, without being something that costs like magic points or magic slots or however you run it in your game. They're not intended to be these, well, I guess what they are in the current game, which is not only extremely varied, but also very powerful abilities that scale up with level, which really goes against the whole zero-level magic definition that was created back in the day. In any case, I'm talking about the basic fantasy RPG supplement zero-level spells, which I think is a nice return to that way of thinking. But if you look at what's in Mr. Gygax's article here, oops, that's a bit too big. You know, things like chill and clean and shine and warm, and he's got them categorized based on whether they apply to a thing or a person or an effect. Like there's some haunting things here: creak, groan, moan, rattle, tap, thump. In any case, I thought we would have a look at the implementation of zero-level spells, which is a very old-school approach for the basic fantasy role-playing game. And this is an interesting addition. They're called cantrips when used by magic users and related classes, and orisons when used by clerics and related classes. And I wasn't familiar with the word orison, and I looked it up, and it's basically just another word for prayer. But the way that these are implemented, they are a zero-level spell. GM's option, I'll just read. A non-spellcaster character might be allowed to use cantrips. That's interesting. They do not have to be prepared in advance, unlike more powerful spells. And a spellcaster can learn a number of zero-level spells equal to 1d4 plus their relevant ability bonus. So for a cleric, it would be wisdom. For a magic user, it would be intelligence. They typically have a range of 10 feet and a duration that's instantaneous. Caster may cast a number of zero-level spells per day that's equal to their level, plus an ability bonus. So that's intelligence again for magic users and related classes, and wisdom for clerics. So it's a nice way to add a little bit of magic into the game at not too much cost and not too much effect, but it adds some magic to the magic character. And I'm all about, if you've seen other videos, I'm all about trying to keep the magic in magic. So having these low cost, low effect, but useful things that you can give to one of your magic classes is, I don't know, it's a great addition. So let's look at what's included with this supplement. And because cleric, C becomes before M, we'll look at the clerical orisons first. Call to worship. Mentally notifies patrons of the cleric's church that services are beginning. So, yeah, just to make sure you're not preaching to a bunch of empty pews. Wouldn't it be great if you could just mentally send out like a summons, like, okay, it's time for service, everyone show up. I can think of at least, there's at least 2 YouTubers that I'm aware of that are RPG fans, but also have channels who this might be like a really useful thing that they wish that they could do. Not saying that they don't get a great turnout anyway, but just saying. Guidance. Granting a +1 to any subject's next attack roll. So that's, that's stronger than the tangle, mute, rattle, scratch thing. But it's a very limited increase, which you can't use anytime you want to. It's just, it'll happen the next time you try something. Or it's a reversible thing. Misguide, which gives the subject a -1 to their next attack roll. So that's cute. Meal blessing. So that seems pretty benign. A short prayer before a meal to give diners a blessing, and anyone that eats that meal within 20 minutes heals 1 point. Okay, wow. So I'm reading this for the first time. So it is slightly more powerful than what Mr. Gygax put in his 1982 articles. But on the other hand, it's not as overpowered as what I see being the case with the scalable by level effects of current generation of cantrips. I don't even feel comfortable calling them cantrips. They're so powerful. It's a spell. It's a spell. It's not a cantrip. Mend. Now that's very old school. There probably is a mend in this list here somewhere. Predict weather. Okay, that's useful. That's a little premonition. Virtue. A subject gains 1 temporary hit point. Ward. Grants +1 to the subject's next saving throw. And watered wine. Okay. It's for religious services only. Nod, nod, wink, wink. So druids, they have that same list to pull from as the clerics. And I can just look ahead here, and it says that the illusionists have the same as the magic users, which is a little different from this article. I seem to recall. Let me just jump ahead here. So there are 0-level spells specifically for the illusionists here. Not a very long list. Anyway, for simplicity, I like that this is just a shared list. But again, it's pretty short. Animate tool, such as a quill pen, a spoon, sewing needle, small hammer. And I'm thinking right back to those mops and brooms and such from Fantasia. Clean. Flare. A flash of light, a very small ball of fire, a puff of colored smoke for like a second. So as a distraction, I guess, that would be a neat tool if you're trying to, we're going to go in this direction. So if you can just put a flash over there to get their attention, that gives us the time that we need to be able to break off. Flavor, okay. Or putrefy, okay. So that's reversible too, okay. Clean and dirty. I don't know why you would want to use the reverse of a clean spell. Makes the same area dirty, tarnished, scuffed, or dusty. Maybe I'm just not thinking creatively enough. Seems like a good prank you could pull, but I suppose if you were also inhabiting someone else's, or inhabiting a space, but you wanted to try to remove traces that you'd been there, I suppose you could help dirty it up a little bit. Because I'm assuming you would clean a place before you tried to inhabit it. Irritate. That's a cantrip. This cantrip forces another person to involuntarily blink, nod, itch, giggle, or some other bodily motion. Okay. Mage hand. Okay. A spectral hand is conjured. May either move 1 pound of materials at a speed of 10 feet per round for 10 rounds, with a maximum of 40 feet, or give an object a powerful push equal to the caster's strength, okay, at a range of 10 feet. Okay. Open, close, or summon vermin. This cantrip summons one small, totally ordinary insect, such as a beetle, fly, or spider, small rodents, such as a field mouse, or a cloud of gnats. I like that, into a certain area. If targeted intelligently, because why would you just randomly call this for no reason, the spell may be able to disrupt spell casting, but will never deal any actual damage, including poison, to the target. This is what I like. Little bits of goodness, like a temporary hit point, or a +1 or a -1 on a roll to sort of slightly alter reality, seems within a reasonable expectation for a cantrip. But Eldritch Blast? No. Let's not go there. Transfigure. This cantrip may change a small object up to 27 cubic inches. It's a couple feet and a few inches, into another shape, size, color, or texture. Radical changes, such as creating small living things, are not apt to last more than 1 turn, but a minor change, such as coloring a head of hair bright pink, I'm thinking of a Harry Potter movie right now, may stay as long as about a month. Related changes, such as creating a baby hedgehog from a pincushion, may last longer than non-related ones, such as changing a book into a lizard. So, I like this. And if you're using additional classes, they have something. Necromancers have a few ones added here too. Okay, and that's it. So short and sweet. And if you have a copy of this, or if you can find one through like a source, so many things seem to be on archive.org, you could add more cantrips, I suppose, and create your own little custom supplement. But as far as something quick and dirty, and you know what? There's nothing stopping you from on the fly making the determination. If you have a creative player that says, I want to do this one little small thing, you know, if they're a magic user or an illusionist, cleric or something, you could grant these on a per request basis and slowly grow the number of cantrips just within your own campaign, within your own adventure, and not rely too much on books, because that's the other thing that I really love about the basic system and about basic fantasy role-playing game, is that basic is so clear that it really lends itself towards making stuff up on the fly, things that aren't going to break the game, and where you're not constantly being rules lawyered or feeling the need to have to go and look up everything on a per request basis, but instead just concentrating on being in the moment and enjoying time with your players. Kikichi na nas komitanawa. Thank you. I'm grateful for you. Until next time.